Hi guys and welcome to the circus. So here we have another card fight for you guys. So this is gonna be ToC V Premium Tournament Finals. So as I said before, we are gonna be using clan collection stuff here, but sadly we had delays and so we allowed proxies for this tournament. So here we have a fight between Shiranui versus Luard. So Sir Noe on the on the left side playing Shiranui, and then Sir Linon playing his Luard deck. So it's gonna be a really interesting matchup as well, because again, as I said before, Shiranui produces a lot of protect markers, which is very useful against a very oppressive turn 3 of Luard, or even onwards because just one protect marker can possibly secure his life in the game because of how powerful this deck is. This is one of still the best decks in the current format that we have, and it's just one of those decks that is, some people say, a ticking time bomb, because the longer the game prolongs, I mean, just for more force markers every single turn, and it's not gonna stop until you die. And as long as it survives, you can possibly just run out of steam and the deck can still keep going with the amount of force markers that it has on the board. So yeah, we are going to be looking at a going first Shiranui, rode on to Sakura Fubuki, nothing that much there. It's not going to be just swinging and then giving him a damage. Goes to Magatsu Gale to use the skill to CB1 Soul Blast 1 and draw a card. So yeah, so he's going to be checking for a top 5 search grade 3 with his grade 3 searcher. He's now going to be able to fetch a copy of Fuzen Kongo, which is the finisher that he chose in the deck, because as I know, Shiranui, it's like Nubatama as a whole has a lot of maybe a few good finishers, and it's just a matter of preference basically. So yeah, he's now going to be swinging for just 8k to the opponent's 8k. He's decided to just do a little bit of rush, I guess. He's going to be swinging for 9k and just basically make the most of that 8k body, and he just takes 1 damage. There goes a draw trigger and drawing a card. So right here, let's see what happens in this situation. So he's going to be riding on to Leofall to CB1. He gave the damage there. Maybe he wasn't afraid of the value that Leofall can provide, but yeah, it's still a matter of deck matchup, I guess, because he's going first, so he can just put out as much pressure before Luard goes ham on his first grade 3 turn next turn. And since Shiranui went first, he can just farm force markers and possibly survive, and he will have a very high chance to survive. So yeah, let's see. He's now going to be calling down a copy of what you call it, Sharon. So it's a counter charge 1 basically. So yeah, it's done. He's now going to be calling yet again another Leofall and calling another grade 1 from the deck. What will he call? Will he call a Nemain? No, he didn't call Nemain. Okay, I think does this deck run Nemain still? I have no idea, but yeah, he's gonna be calling down a Weather Painter to put a card from the drop zone to the soul to provide soul. And yet again, he's gonna be calling down another Sharon from the hand and not using the skill because it won't proc. So he's now swinging for 15. He's now taking the damage. The first check is gonna be a copy of Morfessa. He's gonna be checking another copy of Fuzen Kongo, not a trigger there, but it's just still swinging for 8 plus 11, I think it's 19. It's a magic number, which is amazing, not gonna lie. So he's gonna be swinging now for 17. That's guarding for 15. That's enough, and passes over to Shiranui. Okay, so he's now going to be riding onto grade 3, the regular Shiranui, in order to produce a protect 1 and add it to his hand. So that's 1 protect down. That's going to be very useful, and with the amount of other plus that this deck generates, it's just it has a really high chance of surviving against Luard, at least for a few turns. And right here, let's see, he's now going to be calling down Magatsu Gale to CB1 Soul Blast 1 and draw a card, just converting the CB and the Soul Blast into Soul, which is amazing. He's now going to be calling down, call down the grade 3 searcher once again to fetch another grade 3 from the deck. The top 5 cards is going to be fetching down a regular Shiranui to possibly just have 1 more grade 3 in the soul. No, it's actually enough, right? With the regular Shiranui and the in-hand Shiranui, plus he's gonna be riding up to Oboro like he does here, discarding a card and calling down, superior riding a Oboro from the deck, which is amazing. Is now gonna be securing 2 cards in the soul with Shiranui in the name, meaning his his domination token is going to be a lot more powerful. So he's now going to be calling down his Shiranui from hand. So let's see what he does here with this Shiranui Obra skill. So discarding the protect marker. Wow, that's really interesting. Now he's going to be binding the grade to Leafall from the field and then getting the skill, but it doesn't have the skill because Leafall is an on-play skill. But still, it's a 1 drive 10k body versus a 10k, which is very useful. So let's see, he's now throwing in for a massive number. This is 20 to 34, I believe, or 35. So taking the damage there, no defensive whatsoever. He's going to be bouncing the other rear guard and discarding a drag driver. So he's swinging for 10 1 drive. So let's see. If he puts down a 15k here, it's no pass basically. So let's see what his decision will be. So what do you call it? The Oboro is now sitting at a 27k body. He's checking a Jamyo Kongo to hand. He's swinging for 27 twin drive again to the Vanguard. Let's see if what he does here. Will he take it or not? He is thinking of what to do here. The game state is 3 to 2, but it's still in a 3. Setting at 3 damage is pretty smart because you can basically take 1-2 crit Vanguard swing from any rear guard basically on his side, maybe even the Vanguard. And then right here swinging finally for another 28k panel or 23. He's now guarding that for 10k, which is enough, I think. Yeah, okay, so he's now going to be riding onto Luard. So let's see, he's now going to be getting force 1 to the 1 rearguard circle. That doesn't matter basically because what you call it, he can just put it anywhere because he doesn't have any rearguards on the other sides of his field. So he's now going to be retiring 2 cards to retire the other cards on his field, and then right there he's going to be drawing a card and then using the skill of his what did he do again? He's now gonna be, yeah, he's discarding some cards, riding onto drag driver from the deck, and then getting yet again another force marker and using the skill of what? Let's see, I'm quite confused, but this game state is equal right now, but it's time for Luard to do what Luard does best, which is just, yeah, produce a lot of force markers and bash face with possibly 2 crits. I think he does. It does have it, right? Because he discarded a drag driver before. If he has a weather painter in his hand, is that like weather painter? I forgot to, I keep saying weather painter because of a Yu-Gi-Oh reference, but yeah, let's just call it like that. It's a painter. So if he has a painter in his hand, you can just shove it in the soul, and then you have the required things in order to have crit to what you call it, to the front row rear guard circles basically. So yeah, oh no, basically every single grade 1 has a crit. So yeah, let's see what will he do here. So he's gonna be calling out 2 grade 2s from the deck. He's calling Sharon and the guy that gives intercept to all grade 1s on the board. Basically in the front row it has a 10k intercept, which is amazing actually, not gonna lie. So it's a pretty useful skill because basically every single turn Luard has 20k shield, which is a lot actually. It really helps a ton. So yeah, let's see what happens here. He's gonna be using the skill of Sharon to soul blast one in this, I mean CC, it's there. He has 2 CBs again. He can use Luard again. I mean, he can use Morfessa if he has a Morfessa, and let's see what happens here. So game state again is 3 to 2 still, but looking at Shiranui's hand, I almost said Shiranui. it's yeah, you get the joke. But yeah, it's still pretty healthy, but I was really iffy on that part where he discarded the Sentinel. I was really kind of 50-50 about it still, but I don't know what his decision will be. Let's just see what happens, if that will be like a very punishing decision or not. So let's see here. He's now gonna be doing what Luard does, calling Leafall, and then does what Luard does, basically just farming cards, filtering the deck, just a bunch of grade 1s in the drop zone, basically doing ritual. He doesn't have multi-attack this turn. He doesn't want to commit the Morfessa from his hand, or yeah, he drive check no, he didn't drive check Morfessa, never mind. So he's just swinging for 3 attacks here with massive numbers. Let's see what happens here. He's taking the Vanguard, so if he can check crit, 1 crit, and then if he gets another crit here, this might be a quick game. Okay, let's see, second check and nothing. Okay, that's That was kind of nervous, not gonna lie. Okay, so he's checking a draw trigger, which is nice. You're gonna be sitting at 22k right now, and a draw, which is amazing. And yeah, let's see what happens in this decision that he has. What will he guard here? Will he guard with a PG or not? This is a big call. I'm still right. 15, 25, 35, and 48. 48. No, 43, right? Yeah. Okay, so I don't know if Sharon there had the skill, but regardless, it's still at least the same number of shield. So he did commit a PG, discarding the grade 1, grade 3 searcher, and just passes the turn, rewriting yet again the regular Luard from the soul and getting another force marker. Yeah, 3 force markers per turn versus a deck that produces 2 protect markers per turn. That is... Oh, he rode on to Jamya Congo of all things. Oh god. So okay, on play skill, he shall discard every single card except for 4 cards that he wants to keep. So he needs to just survive with 4 cards this turn. He's still at 3 damage and 20k intercept, which is something to have taken into account basically. So yeah, he's now going to be converting some soul and CB into draw with Magatsu Gale once again, and just basically recycling and filtering and digging up the deck in order to reach that win con. So let's see what his decisions will be here. Looking at his hand though, we can barely see his hand, but he has like a few heal triggers in his hand. I don't know if that's really a heal, but sometimes I misread it to be a heal or a crit. I believe it's a crit. Yeah, it's a crit. So yeah, there we go. Oh, we saw one. I think it's double heal. So he's calling down 2 triggers, but it's basically fine because you can just bounce it. So he is now gonna be swinging there for I think this is just 17. This is to the pass because he has 20k intercept. And let's see what happens here. First, check a heal, which is actually quite big. He can basically survive here, but everything is still lethal next turn. So I think it's fine. It's fine. He can just still take a damage eventually. So yeah, he's still swinging here for what is this? 15, 20k to Vanguard. Let's see what his decisions will be. Okay, he's gonna be taking 1 damage. There's a draw trigger and drawing a card. He's now gonna be swinging here and using the skill to CB1 bounce and call 2 tokens. This doesn't hit anymore because he did check a defensive, and it's just gonna be calling down 2 decoy tokens to provide intercept, basically 15k intercept for 1 card, which is amazing. But take note that he is facing against Luard, Shadow Paladin, which is known for a clan that retires stuff on the opponent's board. And right here it's just fairly easy. He just retires 2 cards like so, retiring the 2 decoy tokens. I think just 1. Yeah, just 1. Okay, and drawing a card. So just 5k there gone that easily, and converts the cards on the board into draw, which is quite scary. And yet again produces another force marker. Oh god, this is just a scary deck. Okay, so let's see what happens here. He's gonna be using again to reride the drag dragger from the deck to move back from the drop zone to the soul. It's so stupid. I don't know why, but this deck exists and it's so threatening. Okay, so he's riding again and getting another force marker once again, and oh god, this is just, oh man. Okay, so let's see what happens here. He's gonna be using the skill of his Vanguard to call grade 1s from the deck. He now decided to call out his Morfessa and the girl that gets 15k that easily, which is a 20k grade 1, which is amazing actually. This is very useful. And let's see what happens here. If he gets the setup for the bat with the weather painters and whatnot, he has enough grade 3s now in the soul to have crits in the front row plus a multi-attack. If he can pull off 5 attacks here, he can just burn Shiranui's entire hand, which is a lot, by the way. He has 2 protect markers right now, I think, or only 1, which is a lot to to be in, because basically he can just PG some attacks, and if he has like a couple of guard value in his hand, he can just basically survive. The problem here is that every single attack, regardless of the heal, is still lethal because they're all 2 crits, and the Vanguard is like a very scary card to go for like a no guard basically, right? So let's see. He's now gonna be calling just some cards right here. He's gonna be calling down more Fessa. He's preparing himself for this attack. He still doesn't have. Oh, he called down Weather Painter, and let's see what he shoves in the soul. He shoved back his grade 3. No. I think he's just gonna be. What? Where's the bat? There's no bat yet. I think no. There's no bat. Just crit to the front row, but still swinging for 30k alone. Holy crap. Okay, so it's a 30k Morfessa that has a crit. It's considered as a grade 1, which is it's funny. So right, let's see what happens here. He's still gonna be calculating a bit, even though he has a lot of shield value in his hand. Like we saw before, he keeps bouncing up triggers. He just freely calls them and bounces off using Magatsugil and the grade 2 that produces shield. And let's see what happens. He's checking, I think, for trigger count. Yeah, he's checking for trigger count, just thinking if he can possibly take the Vanguard swing, because he needs CB. He will need CB for his his Shiranui turn, but he is sitting at his on his Jamyo Kongo, meaning at the end of the turn he needs 4 cards in hand to keep. It's still something to have, because if he can pull off his finisher next turn, he can possibly win. Because the problem with that is that the finisher Fuzen Kongo still needs you to be at 5 damage, and this entire board is lethal, which is something. This is really big. So if he can possibly just no guard the Vanguard here, if he wants to risk it still, it's I don't know if he'll risk it though, because it's not a guarantee that he can just not check a trigger despite having a still a thick deck. So let's see, what will he do with this massive column? This is a massive 50-58. Commits a PG once again. He's swinging for just a very small number, but it's 27-35. It's oh god. All right, so his hand is slowly getting smaller and smaller. He has Sakura Fubuki still, as we see, so he can CC, but he can't use his finisher still. That's the problem. Okay, he's swinging for his Vanguard swing, so he doesn't check anything. Wow, he got through that. Oh my god, what a mad lad. So yeah, he's now gonna be ending his turn discarding 3 cards, keeping 4 cards in his hand. He's now gonna be riding onto Jamyo Kong. No, it's not. It's just standing and draw. He's now gonna be riding onto Shiranui, the regular Shiranui, getting another protect marker, using the skill of his Shiranui to discard a card, check for his Oboro from the deck, and ride it and produce another protect marker, and then basically try to secure this game as soon as possible. If he can possibly survive this is just okay, forgot to re-ride, but it's mandatory, so he's gonna be getting another force marker. That's 6 force markers now. That's just 2 turns. It's so stupid, but it is what it is, right? Yep. So he's gonna be riding onto Oboro. And let's see, what will he do? Can he possibly clutch this win? Because he did manage to survive a ton of Luard attacks, basically 2 full powered Luard attacks, 1 with the crit and 1 without. Thankfully, the previous turn wasn't a full 4 attack deck, a 4 attacks turn, so he managed to survive that. He's now going to be binding the drag driver from the drop zone and just getting his token to be live, and 13k twin drive plus the 27k twin drive as well. 4 drive checks overall. And now let's see what will be the decision with this situation. The situation is 4-5, by the way, and he can take 1 damage. The biggest threat here is the Vanguard swings, because he has 4 drive checks overall. But for the rest of his units, I think he doesn't have that much way to to finish the game. He couldn't fetch his finisher even though he has at 5. That's pretty sad actually. If he can just if he somehow just got his finisher right then and there, this could have been possibly over. So let's see. He's swinging for 13, just a very small number. He's now thinking of what to do. He's checking for triggers. That's 4, 5, 6. Let's see how many triggers are out. 7 more. Are there more? 7, 8. 8 triggers are out in the drop zone. That's 9 and the face up, and then 10, I think. So there are still a couple of triggers left in the deck. I think there's no in soul triggers in Shiranui, so that's basically safe. He still has a fair amount and a fairly thin deck, so yeah, it's still 4 drive checks and a thin deck and 6 triggers in the deck. I think that is a thing that you won't won't risk. So he's now swinging now for 13. He took the first damage, and then basically, yeah, it's to the pass. First check, draw trigger. So if he gives everything to his token, I think he should draw first. Okay, he's giving everything to Jamyo Kongo. It's a 33k panel, so it's still fine. Second check, nothing. So that would have been the safest route. Swinging for 27 twin drive. So this is gonna be 28, 38 twin drive to the pass. So first check, Sakura Fubuki, and second check is a critical, giving it everything to the Jamyo Kongo. Once again, this is a 23, 43k panel. He has 2 cards in hand and 1 intercept. Does he have enough cards in his hand to protect himself from a 43k Jamyo Kongo swing? Okay, 28, 38, he still lacks 10k. Let's see. Does he have it? He has a crit in his hand. Oh, okay. So he can possibly survive this. Let's see. Okay, let us see what his decisions will be. Will he commit? This is 43 plus 10k intercept. It's enough. It's enough. He survived the Shiranui with 4 cards and 2 intercepts. Oh my god. That is quite a match. That is quite a match indeed. He has now 6 cards in hand, I think, and versus a Luard and Bat combo. Oh my god. Okay, so he's now gonna be retiring what? He retires Jamyo Kongo in the front row. He's now gonna be using the skill of his Luard again to reride another to reride yet again another drag driver from the drop zone. And let's see what happens here. So he's moving back to the deck a couple of cards in order to basically simulate striding, and yeah, basically Luard stuff. He's doing Luard stuff, everybody. So he's now gonna be checking there, and he's now gonna be riding onto drag driver, which is gonna be basically his final turn because he only has 1 card in hand. 5 to 5. Everything now is down, and every single plan has been revealed. He is now trying to push for game with all the protect markers, with all his power on the board, with the multi attack, with the crit. He's trying to push for this W. So let's see with this play. Okay, he's now going to be calling out cards in his deck in order to filter out the deck as much as possible, because he needs to check those lovely yellows, reds, and greens. And let's see if he can manage to check at least one of those with his 2 drive checks. But still, regardless of the triggers, Shiranui is at 6 hand cards, no intercept, 5 damage, and I think we saw a couple of heal triggers out. But his deck is still pretty thin, and I think he has 2 heals in the deck. He can possibly just heal it out. But still, again, Luard has 2 crits in every single rearguard swing except for the Vanguard. But still, with a compressed deck like this, a crit is almost inevitable to check unless you're just super unlucky. He just commits every single card in his hand. Let's see on what happens here. He has more Fessa. He calls down Weather Painter, retiring the backer using the skill of Weather Painter, and just basically shoves 1 card from the drop zone to the soul, which is gonna be the Apocalypse Bat, which is quite obvious. And right here, he's now gonna be using the skill of his Sharon to countercharge 1 Soul Blast 1. He's just Soul Blasting out some grade 3s in the soul and still keeping 2 cards that are grade 3s to get the crit. He's swinging for a massive 41k, and let's see. He has 6 cards in hand. It's a very tough situation right now, but he still has hope with the heal triggers left in the deck with a compressed deck. So let's see what his decision will be. He's now going to be committing some guard value in hand, which is enough. This is gonna be 47-37, so he's now gonna be committing a PG for this 50k Morfessa, swing in now for 50 using the skill CB1, and then call the Apocalypse Bat, skill of Apocalypse Bat, call down his Apocalypse Bat, and just Sir No is just scooping right here. He's just checking first check, second check, a draw trigger, and it just basically scoops everything because I think he doesn't have heals on his deck anymore. And yeah, that was the first game, and see you guys in the next game. So here we have game number 2. So I forgot to mention that this is a best of 3. We decided to make it a best of 3 at least in the finals, so it has a little bit more excitement to it. So let's see what this game will look like. So it's still the same matchup, obviously, as Shiranui versus Luard. So the previous game was kind of rough, but it was a very close match as I see, because both sides played it beautifully, but just Luard had the upper hand. You know, it just he just survived the previous turn that Sir Noe committed everything in his hand in order to just be able to push for that W, but sadly he couldn't, and Luard just took the game by his next turn because it's Luard. So let's see, he's now gonna be riding onto his grade 2 that produces tokens to bounce it again and then produce 2 tokens and basically a 10k shield. And let's see what happens here. He's taking the Vanguard swing, is getting a crit, and all into the Vanguard. So 2 damage right there. But with 2 damage, Luard can do a lot in grade 2 turns. So he's now going to be using the skill of Leafall once again to fetch for a card in the deck. He's now going to be calling Sharon to Soul Blast 1 and Countercharge 1. So just free value out of nowhere. So he's now going to be calling either Leafall to CB1 and call yet again another grade 1 from the deck. And this time I think he's gonna be calling, yep, Abyssal Owl. Oh no, Belial Owl, Abyssal Owl. I think Abyssal Owl. So he's now gonna be either counter blasting or soul blasting if both sides have the same grade. So let's see what he does here. He's soul blasting to draw 1 card. So it's just great value from turn 2. So let's see. He's now gonna be, did he draw a card? Okay, he drew a card, and then let's see. Leafall to 2 grade 2s on the board, 1 grade 1 is using another Abyssal Owl to CB1 and draw a card, provide a lot of value. This is 10, is still gonna be rushing to push to 3 very early on, especially he is gonna be going second, and he just tries. Ooh, he checks a Heal Guardian, which is big, which is honestly really big. Holy crap. Okay, let's see. With that Heal Guardian in hand, Sir Noe should be careful with his next turn, because 1 Heal Guardian can possibly just protect him from 1 token swing or 1 Vanguard swing. It depends on whether or not he will use it on either Vanguard swing. So let's see. He's now going to be riding onto Shiranui, get Protect 1, using the skill to ditch a card and ride Shiranui Oboro from his deck, discarding a critical trigger. Now he kept the Protect marker in hand, which is a very smart move indeed. He's now going to be riding onto Shiranui Oboro. He also kept the Protect marker because he knows that he has a Heal Guardian in hand, so it's just something that could help him survive next turn. So let's see what happens here. Riding onto Shiranui Oboro because he still has the regular Shiranui in hand, so he doesn't need to search first before riding onto Shiranui Oboro. And right here, it just secures the, the power to the token. So right here, he's now going to be counterblasting 1 and binding Leafall and getting plus 10k and 1 drive, and it's now swinging. He's swinging. He just kept everything. He knows he has a Heal Guardian in hand, so he's just doing something that can get over Heal Guardian. So he's now swinging for 22. First check, a critical trigger, everything to Vanguard. With the Heal Guardian is now going to be possibly no passing, is now going to be a 1 to pass. I think, yeah, it's a 1 to pass still. Let's see what his decision will be. Okay, what will he do in this situation? This is a 1 to pass and 1 drive. So okay, if he checks a crit, it's gonna go to 4. If he commits a 5k here, it's no pass. It's a no pass now. He checks nothing, and 27 twin drive. I think he's gonna commit a Heal Guardian, I think, because he still has a Heal Guardian. They want to utilize it as much as possible, or once a damage, so it's no pass. So first check, nothing. I mean, a draw trigger. Second check, nothing. So that's a that's what Heal Guardian does. Basically, he survived his first grade 3 turn, but Shiranui Shiranui did what he wanted to do. Actually, he wants to farm protect markers, basically cards, to survive his opponent's turn. So let's see what the Luard player will do. Riding onto the regular Luard, like doing Luard things, retiring to the draw card, and right here he's now gonna be moving back what cards in his drop zone to basically stride. So he's now gonna be riding the drag driver that he puts from the drop zone to the deck. So he's now gonna be using the drag driver skill on place, I think, on CB1, and call green ones from the deck. So he started to filter out things. He called Sharon to countercharge and weather painter the painter. So yeah, I don't know the name of that card. I just keep calling it Weather Painter. So let's see. 2 protect markers as always, and he's now going to be producing 1 more protect marker, force marker, god forsaken. Okay, so he's producing 3 force markers every single turn, or at least 2 if he re-rides. It's 3, and let's see what this turn will look like. He's calling down Branwen to possibly filter the deck. He whiffs the search, which is fine. He just needs grade 1s and that's it. So let's see. He used Sharon, so it's 11k boost, I think. So he calls down his Morfessa. So it's multi-attack, 4 swings in 1 turn with a fair amount of triggers. Force markers, because he still hasn't produced that much. So he's now swinging with his he called down his 20k grade 1. So he checks first crit, and second check it's a crit. So he's now gonna be drawing from the draw trigger that he checked defensively, and checks nothing on the second damage check. So he's now swinging for still a massive number. This is 30, 41, I think, 42, 41, and then the other side has has 13, 23, 33, 40, 40k. So protect markers the other one, and what will he do with the last swing? Will he take it or not? I think it's better to take it. Oh, he guards it still. And yeah, he guarded it, and he just rides onto regular Luard and then gets another force marker and passes the turn. So let's see how Shiranui will come back from this. He's now at 4 against a 2 damage Luard, and he rides Jamyokongo once again and depleting the hand cards of Luard, and just basically makes him forced to keep only 4 cards this turn. He is still at 2 damage, but the only aim of this ride is to just deplete the hand so that he can possibly even out the playing field and to produce another protect marker to possibly survive next turn. He fetches his grade 3 finisher, so he can now possibly prepare himself for this massive turn. He's now slowly but surely getting to that win con that he couldn't reach in the previous game. So he's just, let's see what happens here. So he's now calling 9k body and then 13k. He's damage denying the guy. Oh my god. So he's checking first, checking nothing, and no damage. And let's see what happens here. Swinging for CB1, bouncing the card and attacking the rear guard and producing 2 tokens, and just, oh my god, he decided to damage deny him and prolong the game, I think. But it could be quite problematic still, given that Luard produces 3 force markers every single turn. So yeah, let's see what happens. See, he will now stand and draw, riding onto the regular Luard once again, getting another force marker, retiring 2, retiring 1 unit on the board in his opponent's side, and draws a card. So let's see what he decides to retire. He's retiring the grade 2, which is the best option here because the tokens are just tokens. And let's see what he does here. So this is now going to be moving cards from his drop zone to the bottom of the deck, and since it's just basically stride, so so yeah, that skill is not restricted behind CB. The only CB is this. So let's see what he does with this turn. Okay, so he's now what? He is now what is happening? So he is just calling out his weather painter to the weather painter. That's just the painter and putting one card from the drop zone to the soul. He's moving it up. He is now gonna be calling yet again another 20k unit and just basically swing 3 times. Let's see what happens here. So he has a crit, right? Yeah, he has a crit because he has a lot of green 3s in the soul. So everything has a crit. So everything is almost lethal except for the Vanguard. So will he Giga Chad no guard the Vanguard? So let's see what his decision will be. He has 2 protect markers and a couple of PGs in hand, I think. Yeah, he has 2 protect markers and a couple of PGs. So he is for sure gonna survive this one, but I don't know what he will do next turn because he is still at 2 damage. So yeah, let's see what happens here. So he's now gonna be drive checking. Now the first check is the regular Luard, and second check a draw trigger, draw a card, giving the power to the painter. So it's now setting at 27, still a magic number against what you call it, against protect, and then the other side is 50k. All right, so it's still a big number, big number, but everything has 2 criticals. So let's see what will he do in this situation. He still has a pretty healthy hand still, but he needs to guard everything, which is the problem of what is happening here. So he's checking there. Okay, so no. Okay, so everything, they don't have a crit. Oh, I stand corrected. Okay, I can't read. So yeah, everything has a crit. Oh no, he just took it back because yeah, he has the thing in the soul, right? So it has a crit. So he guarded there and then guarded again for another thing. And let's see, I'm running out of words here. So protect marker was forced out, which is very unfortunate. He's still at 2 damage. He's at 4. Everything is lethal, which is basically denying his Fuzen Congo, which is really unfortunate. That is the situation that he is in. Because of the crit pressure from Luard, he is not able to go to 5 and reach his win con. That is just the thing that is happening right here, which is actually pretty big. So yeah, which is why I also said earlier that it might have been a smarter move to take the other attack, but regardless, it is what it is. So let's see, he's now going to be riding on the Shiranui Oboro and fetching yet again another protect marker, and let's see what happens here. I think it's time to just push, right? So let's see, he's now bound his grade 3 heal guardian, and it's basically a 10k twin drive, but he didn't have the drag driver from the drop zone or any regular Luard, right? So he couldn't reach 13k with twin drive with this situation. So yeah, let's just see what his decisions will be. So he's now gonna be using Sakura Fubuki to Soul Blast, counter charge and filter his hand. He's now using Magatsu Gale to CB1 Soul Blast 1 and draw a card. He's now trying to push. So it's 10k twin drive. So let's see. He has 2 intercepts. Oh no, he doesn't have intercepts. So he just has a fair bit of hand cards. I think it's 5 cards in hand, 4. Okay, it's just 10k twin drive. Let's see what his decision will be right here. He doesn't have, okay, he heals. That's a big heal. That is a very big heal. So second check, a Jamio Congo. The first check will be a critical and power to the Vanguard, swinging for 27, twin drive to the Vanguard. Everything is still hitting. I think, yeah, it's still, no, the other side is 22. So you're now gonna be checking. First check, nothing. Second check, draw trigger, which is a sentinel, which helps a ton, giving power to the other Shiranui, which is gonna be hitting for 32, and the other side is 23. Yep, no, 24 or something, right? 25. He's now gonna be guarding for 15k, which is enough, bouncing back the Sakura Fubuki, and yeah, he's now swinging for 32. Last attack, he still has 2 cards in hand, which is enough, I think, to survive because it's just 1 damage. If it takes a damage here, it's fine. So yeah, but he will deny his own. No, he can just, what is happening? So okay, he took it, and then he is forced to bounce a card. So let's see what happens in this situation. So he's now going to be bouncing the grade 1 back to hand and discards a card. So what will he discard? What will he discard? So he has a bat in the soul. I think he has a bat in the drop zone, so it's now preparing for this massive turn. So discards the regular Luard and just okay, he just wants to keep the regular he didn't want to keep the regular Luard. And let's see what happens here. Using Abyssal Owl to Soul Blast what card? I think he can't Soul Blast anything here. I think the Abyssal the Apocalypse Bat, right? It's the only card that is not grade 3, which is the one that he needs. Okay. Ooh, he Soul Blasted the bat still. Wow. Okay. So using the skill of Luard to retire yet again another card and drawing a card, and then using the skill of Luard to put back 2 units from the drop zone and stride. Okay, let's see what happens here. Okay, he's now going to be putting back his Weather Painter once again, riding onto Drag Driver. Yet again another force marker putting down on the board, making it 6 force markers overall this turn, using the skill of his Luard to call a bunch of cards from the deck to filter as much as possible in order to hit those beautiful triggers in order to secure this win. Let's see. He's now gonna be calling out stuff from his deck, calling out his the Intercept Giver card. I forgot the names. The Bat, the Sharon, and Painter. Yeah. He put back, okay, he just, oh, I see. Okay, so he's calling out some cards. It's just, maybe he wants the what do you call it, the 8k power there to make it a magic number. Yeah, just like that. Calling Sharon and Bat, and the Bat is now active because of the Painter putting back the card from the drop zone, and it's just active with Morfessa. It's 5 swings with massive numbers and crits, which is a lot. So Shiranui has a fair amount of cards in hand. I think it's 5, right? It's 8. Yeah, I think it's 9 or 10. Yeah, it's 9 cards in hand, swinging for 41. Taking the first damage power to the Vanguard's second check and nothing, just 1 defensive. He only checked 1 defensive. I think that's enough. I think he can guard with 1 card here, which is nice. He's now going to be using the skill of his Morfessa to Soul Blast out, call out the Bat again, and it's just swinging for massive numbers. Jesus. All right, I think this is how big is this? 14, 24, 44, and the other side is almost the same number, but that unit is big. It's a big booster. And let's see if he can manage to survive this. If he can manage to survive that, I think he can secure the win. So let's see if we're gonna go to game 3 or not. So let's see. He's now calculating if he can manage to survive this. He's guarding his entire hand almost. He still has 3 cards with 1 Sentinel and 1 swing with 1 card in his hand. 1 Jamyo, 1 PG. I think this would have been not enough to survive this huge onslaught. With the amount of, oh, he takes the Vanguard swing. He checks a crit to the Vanguard and power. It checks a draw trigger till it checks for 2 heals. He needs 2 heals and he doesn't. He couldn't get 2 heals, at least 1 of heals, because it was in the very bottom of the deck, or it was very close still. Man, that was a good game. That was a very intense game, not gonna lie. It ended up in a 2-0 record, best of 3, but still, that was a fairly close fight. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and see you guys next time.